Hey guys, in the previous episode, we saw that Nanao was still sad because Oliver didn't want to fight until both of them were eliminated. And at the very end of the video, after helping Pete get his book, they got trapped in the maze with two veterans wanting to beat them up. Today, you'll find out how this story ends, but before we start, you know the drill, go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe to give me that support, alright? Without further ado, let's get to the recap. Today's episode starts by showing those two veterans who want to beat up the young freshman. The bearded guy who looks like a vampire and the woman are approaching them. The guy casts a spell, and soon, some bones start appearing. And suddenly, a gigantic skeleton monster appears before everyone's eyes. The woman doesn't fall behind and immediately conjures a spell to give birth to a massive creature. I just wish I could understand how all of that fit inside her, but okay. The boys are quite impressed. Pete asks if she's summoning that creature. Chella says no and adds that she's giving birth to it. Finally, the two monsters are ready. Seeing that things have gotten crazy, Oliver calls them to run. However, the vampire guy summons some bones and keeps them trapped while fighting the weird woman. At this moment, Nanao arrives and says that this is definitely a place where people go for a brawl. She mentions that she recognizes it well since she has witnessed it many times. And while all this chaos is happening with the creatures, things are literally breaking. After her skeleton monster breaks, the vampire guy invokes another spell and completely reconstructs it. This time, he manages to immobilize the so-called son of that strange woman. At that moment, Nanao shatters the bone wall the guy created and moves forward. She says she'll protect them and tells them that their chance to escape is now, and they should go. Nanao says that as soon as she enters, the fight will become chaotic, and neither of the two can chase after them. And at that moment, the woman's monster manages to break the skeleton monster again. The vampire guy asks what kind of seed she'll plant in that disgusting womb of hers next. The woman retorts and asks him which body he took that spine from. Nanao continues speaking and mentions that someone who should have gone to the grave finally found a place for it. Here, she's talking about herself. The girl is thinking about kicking the bucket again. Didn't I say she was crazy? After this craziness, she tells them to leave and rushes towards the giant monsters. However, Oliver doesn't want her to go to her doom and runs after her to save her. But fortunately, before they could do anything, another veteran appears and sets fire to the monsters. With just one attack, he defeats both of them effortlessly. He says that's enough and reprimands the two shady veterans about the methods they're using to recruit new students. The vampire guy says he sees that his habit of setting things on fire before asking hasn't changed and calls him purgatory. The guy, in turn, tells him not to call him that in front of the new students. He then reassures our freshmen, saying they shouldn't worry because he won't let them lay a finger on them. And he swears by his name, Alvin Godfrey, the student representative of Kimberly. Then, another woman suddenly appears behind the weird creature and tells her it's better to listen to him. She introduces herself and says her name is Carlos Whitrow, a fifth-year delegate and a veteran. Man, the girl's name is literally Carlos. She says it's a pleasure to meet them. Alvin dismisses them and tells them to go back into the depths of the maze. After that, they are released and taken outside. Once outside, Oliver grabs Nanao by the collar and asks if she's crazy to want to go to her doom. He says he felt like she really wanted to kick the bucket and did it on purpose. Oliver is really upset because he doesn't want to lose his friend. His other friends tell him to calm down, and they go to a fountain to talk more calmly. Nanao says that Oliver was right, and she tells them that she lost attachment to her life a long time ago. She says it all feels unreal, like a dream, and she just wants to end it all at once. She tells a bit about her last battle. She and her comrades fought against an army of 50,000 men, and at some point, she managed to reach the enemy's rear. Before reaching the shogun, who is like a king, she battled a guy and easily defeated him. After that, she was surrounded, and the shogun said he would take revenge on her, and the revenge would be to send her to oblivion without even knowing her name so that no one would remember her. Before she was dragged away, Nanao made one request. She wanted to duel a guy named Yasutsuna, the son of the shogun. She had heard that he was the strongest in their clan. The old man gets angry and says that she just sent his son to oblivion without even knowing who he was. Nanao is shocked and says it can't be. The angry old man orders the guards to eliminate her. But before their spears could reach Nanao, they suddenly stop. and we see a guy flying upside down on a broom. He says he saw potential in Nanao and asks if she would like to go to a magic school. And that's how Nanao ended up here, and she thinks all of this has been a dream. That's why she wanted to kick the bucket to fulfill her dream. She adds that there's no pleasure in using her sword for vengeance. Where she comes from, pleasure comes from fighting for mutual love, in a fair duel between two opponents who respect each other. With no malice, she says she learned it should be like that, to find the person she loves and fight with them until one of them kicks the bucket. Oliver asks if she really thinks it's right to eliminate someone you respect and admire. Nanao says yes, but understands that it seems twisted to them. However, when she fought Oliver, she felt exactly that. She was eager to know the outcome of that fight and didn't care if she kicked him or if he eliminated her. Now it's official, she's really out there, isn't she? She says that's why she was so sad when he rejected that idea. It hurt a lot, and it left her with a deeply wounded heart. Since then, she started to desire losing her life. She says she fell in love with him and his sword. Okay, I admit, that does sound a bit weird. Chella says she truly thinks like a warrior but says she can't allow it because they're friends. She says she'll teach Nanao a different way to live. From now on, she should look at Oliver as a person, not just at his sword. Yeah, right there. Chella also says she'll teach her a new way to live, and she should be very happy with her new friends. Nanao accepts and apologizes. She says she won't try to throw her life away anymore and asks them to please teach her how to live in this place. Oliver says it's no problem, and they'll always be by her side. The next day, they go to class. While walking, Nanao gets very close to Oliver, almost bothering the boy. Could it be? Nanao says they told her to look at the person and not the sword, and now she's doing that. Guy and Pete say Nanao has a crush on him, and Oliver gets a little embarrassed. Then, they arrive in the classroom, and at one point, one of the students asks the teacher what a Magellamina is. Well, I'd like to know too, since it's the name of the anime. The teacher decides to explain. He says a Magellamina is a specific type of sword art. He explains that a Magellamina is a technique that, when used, will definitely send the opponent to oblivion with no chance for defense. He adds that there are 6 known Magellaminas, and for a long time, they tried to develop new ones, but without success until now. Well, since the anime is called The Kingdom of 7 Magellaminas, I imagine another one will be created. Tell me in the comments who you think will create the next one. My guess is Oliver, but I'd like to hear yours, okay? The teacher goes on to say that these techniques are secret. How they work and who can use them has never been disclosed. Some even doubt their existence. He finishes by saying that's all he can tell. Next, Andrews, that troublemaker from the first episode, appears and comes to pick a fight with Oliver. Oliver says he's not looking for a fight, but the guy keeps provoking him. At one point, Chella shows up and scolds the boy. He tells her to shut up and says he's talking to Oliver, not her. Oliver then asks what he wants, and he says it's obvious, he wants a duel. Oliver accepts, and they go. But before they leave, Nanao complains to Oliver, saying she doesn't like what he's saying. She says he shouldn't lose on purpose and should fight with all his might. Andrews gets mad when he hears that Oliver might take it easy on him and asks if Oliver considers him so inferior that he pities him and won't take it seriously. After the class, Chella and Oliver talk. Chella says she has known him for some time and knows him well. He always wants to be the top dog and fears losing his place. After that, Pete comes in a panic, saying Katie has disappeared. Afterward, we learn that she heard they were going to send a troll that attacked her to oblivion. She rushed to stop it from happening. The guy responsible for eliminating the troll tells her to get out of the way. She says she won't, and he asks for her name. She tells him, and he says it makes sense now, considering her parents are as dumb as she is. Katie says she'll pretend not to have heard the insults about her parents but wants him not to send the troll to oblivion. He tells her to leave, and she doesn't. He says he'll use force if necessary and uses the pain spell on her, causing her to fall to the ground in pain. He tries to do the same with Katie's friends, but another veteran along with one of the teachers shows up. He says it was decided that they would investigate the troll case further, so its execution was postponed, and he is free to go. And so he does, leaving with his tail between his legs. After that, they return to school, and even after being hit with that spell, Katie seems to be very happy. At that moment, a bat arrives with a letter from Andrews, and we see that he's challenging Oliver to an official duel. And that's how today's video ends. Did you like it? Then go ahead and leave a like and subscribe to the channel to directly support my work. Seriously, you guys don't know how much it helps. And finally, as always, for those who stick around until the end of the videos, I've left an incredible video on the end screen. It tells the story of Pastry, a baking prodigy who was sent to oblivion and reincarnated as a noble in a world of fantasy and magic. In this new world, he tries to create the land of sweets he always dreamed of. Click here on the screen and check it out, okay? Until next time, take care.